Imagine always being the one who listens, supports, and sacrifices, yet when you need them most, they're nowhere to be found. The weight of their negativity drains you, but you hesitate because they're family, because they're friends. Picture this. A woman sits alone in a dimly lit room, scrolling through a list of unanswered messages. She's always been the one people rely on, lending money, offering advice, being the pillar of strength. But now in her moment of need, there's only silence. Loneliness creeps in, and the painful truth settles. Some relationships only take, never give. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Yet some relationships corrupt those thoughts, trapping you in cycles of guilt, obligation, and emotional exhaustion. If someone consistently disrespects you, manipulates you, or refuses to change, ask yourself, are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? The real challenge is recognizing these toxic ties before they consume you. And once you do, how do you cut them without guilt or regret? In this video, we'll uncover 8 clear signs that it's time to walk away, even from family or friends. Have you ever let go of a toxic relationship? Share your experience in the comments. Stay with me until the end, where I'll reveal the most subtle yet dangerous sign, one that many people ignore until it's too late. And if you're ready to reclaim your peace and strength, consider subscribing and joining this journey of self-mastery. Now let's begin. Number 1, avoid those who drain your energy. Have you ever noticed that someone who once filled your life with joy and laughter now feels like a distant memory? Not because of a single conflict or betrayal, but simply because life has taken you both in different directions. This isn't a failure, it's the nature of existence. We evolve, our values shift, and our paths diverge. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Relationships, like seasons, have their time. Clinging to what once was, out of nostalgia or obligation, only leads to discomfort and disconnection. A colleague once shared with me the story of his childhood best friend. They had been inseparable, watching movies, playing sports, and dreaming about their futures together. But as the years passed, their worlds grew apart. One moved to a bustling city, building a career and family, while the other stayed in their hometown, embracing a simpler life. At first, my colleague fought to preserve the friendship, forcing conversations that felt unnatural, trying to reignite a bond that no longer existed. The more he tried, the more strained their meetings became. Eventually, he realized that their friendship had served its purpose. Letting go didn't mean he no longer cared. It meant he respected what they had without forcing it into a shape that no longer fit. Relationships are like a dance. Both partners must move in harmony. When the rhythm no longer aligns, the dance becomes awkward and exhausting. Instead of blaming yourself or the other person, recognize that stepping back isn't abandonment, it's wisdom. It allows both of you to grow freely without the weight of an artificial connection. This doesn't mean erasing someone from your life, nor does it mean harboring bitterness or regret. It means creating space and acknowledging that some relationships belong in the past, not because they were bad, but because they've already given you what they were meant to. Holding on too tightly to something that has naturally faded only brings unnecessary suffering. Life is full of change, and so are relationships. The key is knowing when to cherish, when to nurture, and when to let go. A gentle parting can often be more honorable than forcing something that no longer serves you. Letting go isn't just about respecting the other person, it's about respecting yourself. Number 2, avoid people who often quarrel and take sides. Have you ever felt like every conversation with someone turns into a battlefield? No matter how small the issue, they escalate it into a war of words, forcing you to take sides as if life were a never-ending competition. These people don't just bring chaos into their own lives. They drag you into it, draining your peace and clarity in the process. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." A wise person doesn't waste energy in pointless disputes, They do not seek to win every argument, but instead prioritize harmony, wisdom, and self-control. I once had a friend like this, outwardly confident but always quick to turn disagreements into full-blown conflicts. One evening during a casual gathering, a minor debate about travel plans spiraled out of control. Instead of accepting a difference in opinion, he demanded that I take his side, as if loyalty meant blind agreement. In that moment, I saw the true nature of our friendship. It was not built on mutual respect, but on an unspoken expectation that I should always support him, even at the cost of my own perspective. That was the day I realized something important. Relationships built on constant conflict, defensiveness, and the need to be right are not relationships at all. They are battlegrounds where no one truly wins. Arguing excessively is not a sign of intelligence or strength. It is a symptom of insecurity, a restless mind that mistakes noise for power. A person who constantly argues does not seek truth or understanding. They seek validation, control, and dominance over others. And when you are around them long enough, you become part of their storm. Instead of engaging, the Stoic approach is to detach, to refuse to be pulled into unnecessary conflicts, and to guard your peace as you would a rare treasure. If you find yourself in a cycle of endless arguments, always defending yourself or mediating someone else's disputes, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this a relationship that nurtures my growth or one that drains my spirit? The answer is often clear. True wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to walk away. In life, peace of mind is far more valuable than winning a debate. Choose to surround yourself with those who bring you clarity, not chaos. Number 3, avoid people who take other people's worries lightly. Each of us carries a unique burden, some visible, some hidden, but all equally significant. Life does not measure suffering on a common scale. Yet one of the most disappointing experiences is confiding in someone, only to have your struggles dismissed, downplayed, or overshadowed by their own. This isn't just a lack of empathy. It's a quiet erosion of trust, the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Seneca once wrote, "Wherever there's a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." True connection is built on mutual understanding, on the ability to listen and honor another person's experiences. But not everyone embraces this. Some magnify their own difficulties while making yours seem trivial, as if struggles only matter when they belong to them. I remember a time when I confided in a longtime friend about the challenge of balancing work while caring for my aging parents. It was a difficult period, and I simply needed someone to listen. Instead, he brushed aside my concerns and immediately shifted the conversation to his own work stress, never acknowledging what I had just shared. That moment wasn't just disappointing, it was painful. It made me realize that relationships without empathy are not relationships worth maintaining. Respect isn't found in grand gestures, but in the simplest of actions, genuinely listening, acknowledging someone's feelings, and offering support instead of competition. A heartfelt "I hear you," that must be difficult, or even a silent moment of understanding, can mean more than 1,000 empty words. Yet some people lack even the basic courtesy of gratitude and compassion. They cannot celebrate your successes, nor can they stand beside you in hardship. A person who takes joy in another's suffering or dismisses their pain lacks not just empathy, but humanity. And while we cannot control how others behave, we can choose whom we allow into our lives. You deserve relationships built on respect, on gratitude, on the kind of care that is freely given. Not because it is expected, but because it is genuine. Never feel guilty for distancing yourself from those who make you feel unseen. True strength lies in surrounding yourself with those who celebrate your joys, console you in sorrow, and walk beside you without judgment. To cultivate meaningful relationships, we must also cultivate compassion, and in doing so, we don't just build stronger connections, we create a life that is truly worth living. Number 4, avoid those who don't honor their word. Have you ever waited for someone who never showed up, offering only a weak excuse? Or worse, no explanation at all? That sinking feeling is more than just disappointment. It's the painful realization that you are not a priority in their life. A promise is not just a collection of words, it is a silent contract of respect, a bond of trust. When someone breaks their word, they aren't just being forgetful or careless, they are revealing how little they value your time, your expectations, and ultimately your presence in their life. And the most disheartening betrayal isn't just broken promises, it's when they forget they ever made one. I recall a time when I was sitting at my favorite coffee shop, waiting for a friend as we had planned. At first, I thought she was just running late. Perhaps traffic was bad or something urgent had come up. But after an hour, my phone finally buzzed with a message. Totally forgot we had plans today. Sorry. No urgency, no regret, just indifference. It wasn't the first time. And in that moment, I realized something crucial. She didn't intend to hurt me, but her actions spoke louder than her words. A relationship that lacks reliability and respect is an emotional burden, one that weighs on your spirit far more than you might realize. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In the same way, the relationships we tolerate shape our self-worth. If we allow others to treat us as an afterthought, we unconsciously begin to see ourselves that way too. A healthy relationship is never built on empty promises, indifference, or thoughtless disregard. It is built on commitment, on words that hold weight and actions that align with them. If someone repeatedly fails to honor their word, it's not an accident, it's a pattern. And enduring it only diminishes your own sense of self-respect. Remember, respecting yourself sometimes means walking away. You deserve relationships where both sides value and honor each other. If someone cannot do that, don't hesitate to step back. Every time you say no to those who don't respect you, you create space for people who will. Never forget, you are not only worthy of love, but also of respect, in both words and actions. Number 5, avoid those who force their views on you. No two people are exactly alike, and that is the true beauty of human relationships. Connection is not about making others think like us, but about understanding and respecting differences. It is in this space of mutual respect that genuine bonds are formed. Yet some people seem incapable of allowing that space to exist. They insist that their beliefs, whether religious, political, or ideological, are the only correct ones and tirelessly try to impose them on others. I once had a friend who was deeply convinced that his way of life was the only right path. Every conversation turned into a lecture, a debate I never asked for. He was not interested in dialogue, only in convincing me to change my views. At first, I tried reasoning with him, thinking that an open discussion would lead to understanding. But after every interaction, I felt drained, as if I had spent all my energy defending myself against an opponent rather than sharing thoughts with a friend. Over time, I realized something important. Arguments rarely change minds when both sides are only interested in being right. More often than not, these debates become battles of ego, where the goal is not wisdom, but dominance. Even if you win the argument, the victory is hollow, built on resentment rather than understanding. And when respect is lost, the relationship itself begins to crumble. Epictetus reminds us, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." A wise person does not force their views onto others. Instead, they listen, they observe, and they know when to step back. They understand that true growth comes from humility, not from coercion. The need to always be right is a heavy burden to carry. Letting go of that need brings something far more valuable than any argument ever could. Inner peace. If someone in your life constantly pressures you to adopt their beliefs, refuses to respect your perspective, and sees disagreement as a threat rather than an opportunity for learning, it may be time to step away. Surround yourself with those who encourage thoughtful discussion, who accept differences, and who prioritize respect over control. In the end, true connection is not about agreement, it's about understanding. Number 6, avoid those who constantly complain about themselves. Have you ever felt like an emotional dumping ground, where someone comes not to connect but simply to unload their endless frustrations, sorrows, and complaints? Every person needs a space to share, a shoulder to lean on during difficult times. But true sharing comes from mutual support, not selfishness. Someone who constantly complains without considering your feelings is not seeking companionship. They are using you as an emotional receptacle. This doesn't just drain your energy, it can pull you into a vortex of negativity that was never yours to carry. I once had a friend named Sarah, a former colleague I was very close to. During one of the most difficult periods of my life, when my mother was critically ill and I was juggling work while caring for her, I found myself desperately in need of emotional support, but Sarah never noticed. Instead, she came to me every day, not to check on me, but to unload her own grievances. I hate this job. My boss is awful. My husband never helps with anything. Even as I struggled to keep myself afloat, she never paused to ask how I was doing. One day after my mother had undergone major surgery, Sarah called, not to offer comfort, but to complain that I hadn't responded to her messages quickly enough. That was the moment I realized I needed to set boundaries. I finally told her, "Sarah, I can't keep doing this. I have too much on my plate right now and I need the people around me to understand and share the load." There was a long silence on the other end, followed by growing distance between us. It was painful, but I knew it was necessary. Not all sadness deserves to be shared, and no one is obligated to carry another person's burdens at the expense of their own well-being. People who only take, who never pause to listen, acknowledge, or reciprocate, do not build meaningful relationships. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If you find yourself constantly drained by someone else's negativity, learn to listen selectively. Establish boundaries. Save your energy for those who genuinely care about your well-being. Listening is not just about hearing, it's about observing, empathizing, and fostering connections where both sides feel valued. Above all, never feel guilty for choosing to protect your peace. The world is not always kind, but you can always choose to be kind to yourself. Number 7, avoid those who complain but never change. Have you ever noticed that some people don't truly seek solutions? They only seek temporary comfort? Sharing struggles is natural. We all need empathy at times. But when someone constantly brings up the same problems without ever making an effort to change, the relationship stops being supportive and starts becoming a cycle of stagnation. I once had a colleague who frequently came to me to complain about work. At first, I assumed she needed someone to listen, so I gave her my full attention. I even offered specific suggestions to help her improve her situation. But no matter how much advice I gave, she always dismissed it, returning to the same complaints over and over again. She didn't want to change. She only wanted validation. One day I decided to take a different approach. I told her, "I really value our relationship, but if we keep going in circles like this, it's not helping either of us. If you genuinely want to improve things, I'm here to support you, but that has to start with you." She didn't take it well, but I knew I had done the right thing. Listening to others is an act of kindness, but endless listening without meaningful progress only drains both people involved. If you truly care about someone, be courageous enough to offer honest advice, even when it's difficult to hear. Lasting friendships aren't built on shallow sympathy. They're built on mutual support and encouragement. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." True growth requires discomfort, honesty, and the willingness to change. Sometimes the best thing you can do for both yourself and others is to step away from conversations that go nowhere. Kindness isn't just about providing comfort in tough times. It's about helping someone overcome their challenges, even if that requires firmness. Surround yourself with those who seek growth, not just validation. Number 8, avoid those who live in the past. Have you ever met someone who constantly steers conversations back to their past achievements, as if their former glories were the only parts of their life that mattered? At first, their stories might seem impressive, even inspiring, but over time, you begin to notice a pattern. These tales are not shared to uplift others, but to mask their own dissatisfaction with the present. I once knew someone who never missed an opportunity to talk about the prestigious awards he had won years ago. Every conversation became a stage for him to relive those victories, recounting every detail with precision. Yet whenever the topic shifted to his current life, he would deflect or avoid the discussion altogether. It became painfully clear that he was clinging to his past achievements because he had nothing meaningful in the present to hold on to. Instead of admiration, his constant boasting began to push people away. Not because success is unwelcome, but because true confidence doesn't need validation from the past. It shines effortlessly in the present. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." A person fixated on past glories is often trapped in an illusion, unable to move forward. Clinging to old victories does not elevate our worth, it limits our growth. Worse still, excessive self-promotion can make others feel undervalued, creating distance instead of connection. A truly content and self-assured individual does not need to flaunt their past. Their present actions, their character, and their quiet confidence speak louder than any trophy ever could. Instead of dwelling on what once was, they focus on what they can build, improve, and contribute today. Let your life, not just your words, be the proof of your worth. Humility not only makes you more likable, but also strengthens relationships through authenticity and mutual respect. The strongest, most respected people are often the ones who let their actions speak for them. As the old saying goes, silence is golden. Those who understand this are often the ones most deeply valued by others. I'd love to hear about your journey, your challenges, your growth, and the moments that shaped you. Every story of resilience is a reminder that we are not alone. Share your thoughts in the comments below, whether it's a personal experience or just the word clarity, to show that you've completed this session. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss more insights that help you cultivate strength, wisdom, and self-respect. Remember, every step you take to protect your peace is a step toward a better life. You are not obligated to carry what weighs you down. Choose the relationships that uplift you and walk away from those that don't, without guilt, without hesitation. I've left 2 more videos here for you. Continue your journey of growth and self-mastery. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.